Hey, 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 and welcome to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone, the place and the space where you get to transform your life every week with a unique and different healer, coach, leader that adds absolute value to your life. And today I am so excited because I have a beautiful mystique healer. I know I said that almost French-like, didn't I? Now, this beautiful lady, she is definitely a channeler, a spiritual guide, but she's also very much an author and a healer. And really, there's no words because she is a spiritual teacher and also practical mystique that allows you to really sense her power and bringing all of the wisdom together. And, she believes that every single person deserves to have this incredible, powerful element of what she's about to talk you through. So I don't want to take too much away, but we are going to now introduce the beautiful Angela Aurora Medway Smith. How are you today, Angela?
I'm great, Terry. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. And I'm coming to listeners from Greenwich in London, the place where time begins.
Beautiful. I love your accent all the way over the other side of the world. And, as an author who wrote a book, and an oracle guide that really went to #1 in several countries. And, the fact that you're a creator of such life-changing and incredible modalities that help people to really meet themselves at where they are, and rather than be stuck at the crossroads, to really step into their power, making decisions. Can you tell me about this #1 book that went, obviously that way in multiple countries, and what that book talks about?
Okay, so I've got 11 books, Terry, and I think all but one of them hit #1 international bestseller on Amazon. So I'm really blessed for my journey. The books are all different, but the one that was released on the Feast of the Magdalene this year, the 22nd of July, is the Magdalene Oracle, Awakening the Power of the Rose. And hand on heart, it is the most profound, powerful, sacred transmission that I've ever been involved in writing in, let alone leading. And I'm so completely blessed that my guides decided that I was to help lead it. So I gathered together 16 other priestesses of the rose, Magdalene priestesses, mystics from all corners of the world, and in each of them shares a story to inspire listeners.
Wow.
And in a lot of cases, people will see themselves in these stories. But the magic is that they also give you a sacred practice that you can use at home.
Wow.
And this is a format that I've used with my other Oracle books, because my Energy Healers Oracle book series, volume 1 of that was rated as #21 of the 100 best healing books of all time by Book Authority.
Wow.
So, I'm in really good company there.
Yes, you certainly are. Now, for the person, because, I'm really interested in finding out some of these techniques that, you talk about, and especially the ones that you say every single person ought to know about this. I always stay away from the should word, because I always figure that should is like shooting all over yourself. But firstly, the Magdalene frequency. So for the person who hasn't got a clue about this, and then we're going to move into something that is going to be kind of interesting through some of the self-cleansing and self-purifying things that you actually do write about, that you encourage, that is through intention and through practical things. But let's start with the Magdalene frequency, and then we'll move into some incredible self-help techniques that I know the audience are going to love.
Okay, thank you. So our oracle, our book itself, is so rich. There are so many different ways that you can choose to be immersed in the Magdalene frequency and the frequency of the rose. So these are frequencies of, you would expect the divine feminine, but what Mary Magdalene does teach us is that in order to stand in our true power, we need to balance the inner divine feminine and divine masculine within us. So, but for people, to help people understand a little bit better, balancing the heavy, hard go-getting energy with that softer receiving energy. And we can do both. We don't have to be one or the other. It's about finding that balance, that harmony. And only when you truly find that can you stand in your true power, your true sovereignty. And the sacred practices within the book will help people to step into that power.
That's so good. And what I want to say, and what I was really, really feel that there needs to be an emphasis on, is that when Angela is talking about masculine and feminine energy, this is for the guys as well. So this is not just for the ladies, but this is for the men, because I know that it can conjure up some kind of thoughts that, oh, you know what, why isn't there something designed for us? And because, you know, men might feel like, oh, you know, I don't want to be in my feminine energy. That's not what it's about. But, you know, a lot of men, very masculine, very alpha even, can be very much in their feminine energy. And maybe you can just give us a little bit of an overview on, you know, what happens to a person when, I mean, I know as a woman that being in masculine energy means that you're doing, you're sort of in the trenches, you are sort of forcing things rather than being in that nice present state of just receiving. Can you talk us through what is so important for people to, you know, just get that beautiful balance between the feminine and masculine?
Well, just to say, we've had incredible reviews for the book from around the world, but half a dozen of them have been from men. And so I would, in the first instance, go and have a look at those reviews, because when you're hearing from another man, it's different than you're hearing it from me. We live in a world of duality where there's dark, there's light, there's masculine, there's feminine, there's good, there's bad. And our nervous system, our brains are wired in response to our social conditioning, in response to our genes. So we are the sum of not only our experience in this life, but our genetic makeup, our ancestral makeup, and and by, for a lot of people as well, the past life input comes in. So we are not one thing or another. So finding that balance, finding our true self is a journey. And having these sacred practices that you can use on this journey to actually find the balance of divine masculine and divine feminine that is truly you, that is truly you, so that you can literally step up and shine and be the divine soul that you came to this planet to be. And it's going to be different for everybody. So for some women who shy away from challenge, who shy away from being in the limelight, from speaking their truth, they need to increase the amount of masculine energy within themselves. And for men who are bullish and doing and doing and doing and who've been trained to be like that by our society, learning to step back, learning to listen to their intuition, listen to their higher self, their soul, is so empowering, and gives an extra edge, actually, in terms of, of life, not just business, but of life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is absolutely what we're going to touch on too, because, a lot of people out there, we are all spiritual beings. It's just that we're having a human experience. We're spiritual beings having that human experience, which means that we all have intuition within us. And this is going to be something that's going to really unravel through this podcast. So, and you're going to want to stay to the end, because there's going to be that powerful meditation, just as a reminder. Now, there's rituals, and I guess it's for people that are, I guess, at odds with themselves. I quite often say it's incongruence. And that incongruence is, I don't see it as a negative thing anymore, because I feel it's more like our GPS guiding us to say something needs to change. It's like a roadmap giving us direction, because if we felt good all the time, we might run into all sorts of things and not be where we're supposed to be. So thank God for many of the challenges that we have. And for those who are feeling incongruent, which means that you're out of alignment, feminine, masculine, as Angela has just spoken about, and also just the fact that there's a lack of unity of where you're at, which is causing that kind of, I guess, that friction within you. And I guess when you're in that kind of a position, and let's face it, we all get in those kinds of positions. It's just life. It's called life. And this is where I feel that the audience is going to love this next part. But I'm going to get you to take us through some of these healing, body and soul rituals that are really practical. I'm just going to say the bathroom one, because I don't want to give away anything.
Okay. So, I mean, I talked a little bit about my earlier books. So my channel books, because I work in light trance as a channel for the Ascended Master and Archangelic collectives. My channel books, the Book of Many Colors and the Book of Many Flames, are about energy frequencies that everybody can access, that we can use for personal development, we can use for healing. So these are the divine rays and sacred flames. And I'll unpack that a little bit before we move on. So if you think about the clear light of the divine as being clear, and we see this rainbow in the sky of 7 colors. Up until 2012, we had access to 7 sacred rays, but since 2012, we've had access to many, many more, many different subtle frequencies of these colours. And we now have 28, which is what my books are about. So the divine rays and sacred flames can help us in so many ways. And I'll be, at the end of this podcast, I'll be taking you through a meditation with the third sacred ray, the ray of new beginnings, and stepping into, again, the Magdalene frequency, because this is the energy of Lady Nada. This is one of my oracle cards at my own deck. Moving back into talking about tools, energy tools. So these are incredible tools that we can use ourselves. The Energy Healers Oracle books give another 41 different energy healing modalities that you can pick up and use at home. We've got the stories and inspiration from master teachers from around the world and their practices that they're gifting to you, and lots more gifts as well. This is what I love about book collaborations and leading book collaborations, is that we are creating a tsunami of healing around the world. But the one thing I was talking to Terry about earlier is something that I believe every being needs to understand, and that is about spiritual hygiene. So in as much as we take a shower to clean our body every day, we need to attend to our energy body, to our chakra system and our auric field. And there's a really simple free download on my website called the Rainbow Waterfall that can help you all to do that. So just go over to my website and pick that up. I was explaining to Terry earlier that when you do it in the shower the first couple of times, your body remembers the feeling and it becomes a somatic souvenir.
Wow.
You can then do it in 2 minutes. You can leave a busy office or a challenging situation, head off to the loo. When you wash your hands, you're bringing down the energy to cleanse your auric field and your chakra system. When you dry your hands, you're recharging with divine energy. And then you can literally shrug your shoulders and stand back in your power, because you've cleaned all the rubbish that has been projected on you. Because a lot of the times we absorb this negative energy that is sent our way or is in the situation that we're in. And
so for the person who may be a little bit green around this, I just like to add that, because I'm speaking to people at such high levels, and because you are such high level in this kind of work that you're doing, sometimes, for the people that may not understand completely what that means, I believe it's around setting intention. So if, for example, you're having a really hard day, you're having a bad day, or you just feel like there's just been negative energy and it's just going on and going on and going on, setting the intention and saying, you know what, I am going to take a shower. And in that shower, I am going to literally cleanse and purify and renew my cells. Now, whether you set that intention in yourself and just say it, or if you write it down, but I'm just teaching like the basic intentionality around it. And then hop in the shower and just imagine all your cells of your body like just cleansed, purified, because this is how your subconscious mind works. And this is what Angela's teaching takes you into the supernatural. And there is so much supernatural, especially, when it comes to being able to awaken yourself to an intention. Now, I feel that having said the awakening word, that we ought to go back to your situation. So you haven't always been this mystique healer that is an incredible number one author, etc., etc. There was a time when you too were at the crossroads of your career, but it was so severe that you are diabetic. Is it diabetes 1 or 2?
Yeah, I have type 1 diabetes, so
Yeah, which is
juvenile.
quite serious. Yeah.
Yeah,
And, so you ended up making a decision based on not just about the stress, but what it was having, the physical implications. And then you go on, I'm not sure of the timeline, but the spiritual awakening. Do you want to share with us around that topic?
yeah. So they're two very separate incidents. So my awakening wasn't very pretty, and it happened 40 years ago. And basically, the first time I ever went into a meditation, I'd gone along to a class, and it was the first class this lady'd ever taught. So I was I was in the first bunch of students, my first ever meditation. What can go wrong, eh? So basically, I went into this meditation, left my body, came back into my body, went into the bathroom, put my hands in water. The water boiled. I could see my aura. I could pick up what people were thinking. I could feel their pain in my body. It was nuts. So it was as if I'd been plugged into a nuclear power station and someone had hit the switch, and all of my clair senses had turned on. It was absolutely terrifying for
Who
me.
needs magic mushrooms?
Yeah. I mean, I've never gone anywhere near any kind of drugs because I don't need them. Really, I don't. And I can access this without any of that because of my vibration. But that's another story. So what this lovely lady did after she'd sort of looked at me as if I'd had three heads is very shakily write down a phone number and say, you need to ring this lady tomorrow. She's my teacher. And that was a huge blessing because she gave me the number of a lady called Betty Bolcom, who was a spiritual teacher in London in the 80s, who I then spent 7 years in circle with, and is my Louise Hay, if you like. We were talking about our idols earlier on. Yeah, she is the pinnacle of what I feel a spiritual teacher should be. And I'm very,
I'm
very
not sure idols is the word, but it's like those role models and people where we can stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And, I love that you have chosen her because there's such profound write-ups and it just sounds like you anyway.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, Betty gave me the foundation. So she gave me a solid foundation from which my own investigations, because I'm a really curious person. So I don't believe anything people tell me. I have to find it out for myself. I have to see it. I have to understand it. I have to feel it. So, I mean, when people work with me, they're getting real life experience and they're getting my truth. It's always about what's true and authentic. And I suggest the same for all of my students as well, not just to take my word for it, but to check this out for themselves. And no authentic spiritual teacher should tell you any different.
Yeah. And do you feel like, I mean, what you've said about that, a meditation, like you'd expect that this happens with some of those, psychedelic medicine plants, that you experience in Costa Rica. And I've heard good and bad stories about it. I wouldn't touch it, if I came near it and I was offered $1,000, I would not go near it. But the fact is that, there's so many from those, healers and shamans that do practice it. They see it as being very, very enlightening, but it's not always a great experience. It can be really, and it sounds almost like the way you kind of flicked that switch, and that it was like a bolt of lightning that went through you, and it scared the heebie-jeebies out of you to the point they had to call in a higher teacher, which all things happen for a reason, because then you got to meet this wonderful person. And, do you think that was the catalyst that kind of ignited or unlocked your clairvoyance, clairsentience, clair empathy, and channeling?
Short answer, yes. So it was a channel is somebody who can channel energy. So anybody who can channel energy frequencies through their body for the benefit of others is a channel, is a medium. I also channel in a different way. So I channel by, I'm a light trance medium. So what that means is I move my consciousness out of my body and I allow angels and ascended masters to jump in and to use my voice. And my boundaries, because I'm really big on boundaries, are they can only use my body down to my waist, because I don't want to be walking about like Abraham Hicks does. And I don't want to not remember what's being said either.
So how does Abraham Hicks walk around? Sorry, can you just...
there's a really famous channel called Esther Hicks.
I know Esther Hicks. I know absolutely Esther and Abraham. But how does she walk?
Yeah, she allows Abraham, the collective, to use her body entirely. So she is fully embodied by them. So they are in control of all her motor features as well as the voice. But for me,
there's more than one person, are you saying? Like it's not
Abraham is a collective. Abraham is a collective of beings. And there are quite a few channels who work with collectives. So people like Lee Harris work with the Z, and there are lots more who work with collectives. I work with collectives, but individual beings from those collectives. So I work with the angelic collective and channel angels like Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Haniel, Archangel Zadkiel, and the seraphim, the Elohim, etc. But I also work with individual ascended master beings as well, like Saint Germain and Lady Nada, the Magdalene, and Lady Portia, and the Master Jesus, and the Ascended Master Moses, the Merlin, many of them. So I work with all of the patrons of the Divine Rays and Sacred Flames, but also with other beings. It depends what I'm doing. So if I'm working with shamanic frequencies, I might channel White Eagle. I've worked with beings like collectives of stone energy, and there are many
energy. Can you
stone energy? Yeah. There are elemental beings that occupy different, they have different homes. Yeah. So we have elemental beings who called divas, who are within the frequencies of the crystals. So if you're working with a rose quartz, for example, because I've got a rose quartz here, then you would be, if you sit and tune in, you are working with the diva of the rose quartz frequency. Similarly, so it was back in 2020, and I was just starting my trance channeling journey, and I was on the island of the Dominican Republic, and there is a space that I could feel the energy from these stones from over a kilometer away. It was absolutely nuts. And when I got up to them and sat on them, then they were able to speak through me. And it was incredible, absolutely incredible. They had a lot of wisdom, and they gave lots of information for the people that were with me at the time.
That is just absolutely profound, like next level, 5-dimensional, and it's absolutely profound. And look, you do, and you began teaching, like your experience goes back, as I said, to the 80s. And so you are definitely, leading the way here in this field. And in 1990, you began teaching intuitive development, I guess, modalities. And modalities may not be the right name, but, those elements that help people to channel their own soul. Can you explain what channeling your own soul means?
Okay, so I'll just unpack that a little bit. So I actually taught for the first time in Sydney in Australia in 1990, and I taught people Betty's course. Basically, she gave me her course to teach, and that is a 22-week course that I've added to over the years and refined over the years, and added my own experience, my own knowledge to. We were talking about, so intuitive development is about developing your intuition and allowing yourself to listen to your higher self, to listen to the wisdom of your soul. Now, there are lots of different ways that you can do this. So you can do it through hard work, basically, and development. I mean, it sounds like hard work, but it's fun. It's actually a lot of fun, and I make it a lot of fun. But there are also shortcuts and attunements that I give to my coaching clients that can allow you to channel the wisdom of your soul. So I believe, as do many, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that spirit energy resides within the body. But the being that we truly are is called by many names. It's called the higher self. It's called the soul. And I came up with this great analogy that I haven't shared with you, Terry, but I will share for the listeners. So if you imagine that the higher self, the soul, is a disco ball with hundreds and thousands of little mirrors on it, and each and every one of these little mirrors is an aspect of you, a soul fragment, if you like, but also represents a life that you've had, whether it's on this planet, whether it's on another planet, doesn't matter where. And each of them holds wisdom and so much wisdom, so much love. And one of these little mirrors is here, within you. And what you are is you are a reflection of that soul. And so to be able to get hotline, if you like, and talk to the real you is just incredible, because the soul sees all from its space outside, its place outside space and time, and can be an incredible ally. But one thing that I found over the years, when we truly listen to our soul, it doesn't pull any punches. It tells us things as they really are, very much like my grandmother used to. So my grandmother was a, tough love lady, a lady who would tell you how it is and how it should be. And she said it with love, but boy, it wasn't easy to take sometimes. But sometimes the messages from our soul can be like that.
Look, I believe we all absolutely require tough love. So, what is going to be the benefit for, say, a person here listening in, watching, and they want to get in contact with you and they want to learn how to channel their own soul? What will happen for them? What will be the outcome as a result of them learning this beautiful technique?
Well, you live your life with ease and grace, and when you follow your soul's path, it's that simple.
Wow. That sings, because, sometimes it does take people to hit the wall. I know it's happened for me. And look, I'd really gone through the dark night of the soul before 2006. And then I found my work that changed my life. And I'd sort of plodded along and became quite empowered because of the modalities I was teaching, training, and obviously how I transformed my own life. But you know what? I asked myself the wrong question, or maybe it was the right question. And as Anthony Robbins says, the quality of your life will come down to the quality of your questions you ask. And I said, when is it going to be my next up level, right? And because I'd been sitting on this kind of status quo and it was getting rather boring. And then my whole world came crumbling down. I'm not even joking. Oh, yes. I mean, and it's crumbled down. And that has literally caused me to do all of these elements of what you've just discussed. The divine feminine and the masculine surrender. Because if I didn't do that, I don't know where I'd be today. I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, Angela. So the simple fact is that sometimes we do need to hit the wall to have that, incredible awakening to what is in front of us. So you're all about energetic boundaries, and I know that we need to allow some time, and we're running out of time here, and I could talk to you all night because you set energetic boundaries. You are, healing people from grief, burnout, betrayal. And, if people are at the crossroads, if you are at the crossroads in your life, or you're feeling disillusioned, or maybe jaded or disempowered, this is where Angela's going to teach you to take your power back. And this is where you can open up that incredible, the supernatural, I'm just going to call it supernatural, the unconscious, the superconscious part of yourself, to be able to come into this, this bliss, your soul purpose. So I think we will kick off into our meditation now. I feel that we do need to set an intention, though, for our listeners. So I'm just going to give a little disclaimer. If you happen to be driving, listening to this, please ensure that you come back to it. Press stop, come back, because it's going to be here, and, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful resource that you can have in your library. So let's set an intention, shall we, Angela? What's this meditation going to do for us? What do you feel? Do you sense, or are you channeling? Like, because remember, this is timeless. People are going to
Yeah.
be listening to this in a week. They're going to be listening to this in a month. They're going to be listening to this in a year. So if you were to channel the one, what would you meditate, and can you begin the beautiful experience with us?
Well, I'm going to take you on a journey with the ray of new beginnings. So this is a space that is supported by the Ascended Master Lady Nada, who had a life as Mary Magdalene. So we're back to the Magdalene Oracle here. And she can support you with many, many things. But one of those things might be the balance of the divine feminine and masculine. You may ask for the support to start afresh, start a new project, begin a new relationship, just basically start afresh. So, Terry, can I play some beautiful music here?
Now, I will warn you that it could go against the ability if it's not royalty free. So if it's yours,
it's commissioned for me. Yeah, it's mine.
Perfect. Please do.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yep. I just wouldn't
mine.
want to hold you back from reaching your audience after all of this gold that you've shared.
Yeah. It's a piece of music that was created for me by a wonderful chap called Andrew Helm. So I'll play that for you now and hope we've got the right level of sound here. It does get a little louder, but okay. So I invite you now to take a journey with me on to the ray of new beginnings. We're going to draw in the energy of rose quartz, which holds the energy of this frequency on our planet. We're going to draw that up from the center of the earth, and we are going to call down the energy of the divine. So make yourself comfortable. Place your feet flat on the ground or lie comfortably, however you are most comfortable. Hands nice and loose in your lap. And begin to take some deep breaths. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3. Breathing in for 3. And breathing out for 3 and completely relaxing. We always ask for support. Divine Spirit, dear Mother, Father, Creator of all that there is. We ask our guides and guardians and those beings of light who support us on our soul's path to draw close, to protect, inspire, illuminate and guide us. Whatever your intention is for this meditation, draw that into your mind now. And we're going to use the breath to draw in energy and move it around. So breathing in deeply, and as we breathe in, visualize a triangular shaped, pyramid shaped rose quartz crystal at Earth's center. And we send some roots down from the soles of our feet, through the layers of earth, water, rock and crystal, and wrap them around the rose quartz. And as we breathe in, we breathe this energy up into the Earth Star chakra beneath our feet. This is our point of connection with the earth. With the next breath, breathing this energy up into the chakra at the base of our spine, the root chakra, allowing it to move through the chakra. See your chakra as a beautiful rose opening. And as the energy moves through, it opens more and more. With the next breath, we move this energy up, breathing it up into the sacral chakra in the belly, a couple of inches below the belly button. This is our center of creativity. And in Women the Womb space, allow the energy of rose quartz to move into this chakra, allowing it to expand, allowing it to move freely. With the next breath, we move this energy up into the solar plexus chakra at the point where the ribs meet. This is a center that holds fear and anxiety. As the energy moves in, allow this to leave. See the expansion of the chakra, this beautiful rose opening. With the next breath, again, breathing up the energy, breathing it up into our heart space. The place where we hold emotion, emotional pain and anguish. Allowing the energy of rose quartz to gently open this rose. Releasing and relaxing. We leave this energy here for the moment in the heart space as we send our intention to the divine. And we ask for the blessing of the ray of new beginnings, for the Magdalene flame to fall upon us, asking the support of Lady Nada, the Magdalene, that this be so. And again, using the breath, we bring down this beautiful rose pink energy, breathing it through the soul star chakra above our head, breathing it into our crown chakra above the head, allowing the energy of the Magdalene flame to infuse, relax, release, and open your chakra. With the next breath, we move this energy down to the third eye chakra, the brow chakra in the center of your forehead, allowing the energy of the Magdalene flame to open, relax, clear the chakra. Allow us to see clearly. With the next breath, we move this energy down to the throat chakra, the chakra of communication, of listening, a space where we may have held words that we never spoke. Allow the energy of this chakra to be reawakened, reignited, restored, releasing all that does not serve us as the Magdalene flame moves through it. With the next breath, we move this energy down into the heart space where it begins to mix and merge with the energy of rose quartz, swirling and whirling like oil on water, these two beautiful frequencies of the ray of new beginnings, filling your heart. So now taking a deep breath, and as you release the breath, expanding this energy, expanding it up into to the throat chakra, down into the solar plexus. The mixed and merged energy of rose quartz and the Magdalene flame. With another deep breath, on releasing, we expand this energy further up into the third eye chakra, down into the sacral chakra. Another deep breath, and on releasing, we move it up into the crown, down into the root chakra. With the next breath, we expand this energy further so it moves up into the soul star chakra above our head, down into the earth star chakra beneath our feet. We're totally enclosed in a bubble of glorious divine energy, and we're not finished. We're going to expand this even further. Well, with intention now, we take a deep breath and expand, intending that we're expanding this energy out past the physical body, into the layers of the aura, into the mental body, the emotional body, all of the different astral bodies. Until we are completely enclosed in a huge bubble of divine energy.
Wow. And was that just a random bell sign or something that just was there? Was that a deliberate thing, or what happened? So that was just, I was feel that these things are like signs, but that was like a sign of, whoa, you know, you got the igniting that we were talking about before.
It's a fire alarm test in my building.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Well, there you go. It was just divine timing. And that's not all that's been divine timing during this podcast. So all I can say is that there's a lot of power here. And I just want to thank you, Angela. You can, I guess, thank you for the music as well. It's been absolutely exquisite. So if you
Okay,
can.
I don't want to leave people in this space, Terry. It's not safe for them.
Okay.
So in this space, in this place, you can request whatever you wish from the ray of new beginnings. And I normally take a couple of moments before I bring people back, allowing them to take some deep breaths, reconnecting with their physical bodies, beginning to stretch and yawn, as the energy will affect you in different ways. Making sure that you are fully grounded by breathing some energy into the lower chakras, sending some roots deep down into the earth to ground yourself. And then hitting the standby button, because right now everybody has their chakras wide open unless they were shocked into it by my fire alarm. So I'm just going to give a really quick way to close down and be safe. So if you think of hitting the standby button on your TV, that's where we need your chakras. We don't need you to be wide open as you walk out into the world. So think about, I very simply use my hands above my head and close the roses. Just allow them all to close really beautifully, setting that intention that we are resetting the chakra system to its normal operating mode. We're not in receiving mode from the universe when we close down, and we're nice and safe.
Well, and that's beautiful. And the other thing too, my husband always loved doing this, is to just zip yourself up.
Up or down, it's entirely up to you. You know,
Yeah.
I've had students who've come out of my classes imagining that they've zipped themselves up in a sleeping bag. You know, it's great.
Ian used to do it through kinesiology, so he would literally zip up, you know, once with all the positives. So that's all within and safe, and you return back. And thank you so much. And also thank you for actually just pausing me, because I thought we'd finished, and just making sure that all our listeners that are tuning in are getting the absolute maximum benefit out of it. And I'm going to set an intention that regardless of whether you did stay to the end, you do stay to the end, or you go mid or quarter of the way through, wherever that happens to be is perfect for you and safe for you. But, you know, on closing, I have one more question, and it'll be a quick one because we're on the hour now. So look, I often say when people coming in on the podcast, and, you know, we've kind of brought up all of these elements that they haven't, perhaps some of them they haven't spoken about altogether for a very, very long time. In closing, you know, quite often because you're awake and you're inspired and you're in that expanded energy, and I want to ask you, what would you love to say to people? If there was one thing now, just a short one, we've only got a minute, but to actually impart, what would be the imparting words? It might be something very, very simple. It might be, you know, anything from simple to, you know, regardless.
Okay. Know that the journey you've been on is one of your soul's choosing. You are at the perfect place. You can choose where you go next. It really is that simple.
It is simple, and yet it's profound.
Mm.
Simple and profound. So that's right. The power is in your hands. And, you know, for those of you who have really resonated in with this, you will find Angela's, all her links in the show notes, including for any books that you might be interested in, perhaps, you know, joining her on a call, and all of the things. So please go to the show notes and get in touch with Angela, because we've just touched the surface today, and we could go for another 4 hours and have gold information. I know that because I was backstage with Angela before we opened this show up today. So from the bottom of my heart, and those that are praying for your services, I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Bless you, Cariad.